Welcome to the Geek Contingent.
This show is rated for mature audiences only.
Now, your hosts.
Welcome to the Geek Contingent, your weekly roundup of the biggest news in the world of geek. This episode was recorded on March 8th, to be released on Monday, March 13th, for streaming and download via our website, thegeekcontingent.com, and over at iTunes. I'm Alex, and joining us again this week is Brandon, Mark, and our audio engineer, Gavin. Say hello, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, ho, ho.
What's happening?
What's up?
Well, what's happening? I think every one of us had a bad day.
It's been a week, hasn't it, guys? It has been a week. I don't know whether I'm coming, going, up, down, left, right, up. God knows.
Sideways?
I'm always sideways.
I personally had a huge week here. I hate to vague stream, but as I can't really talk about it just yet, but the deal has been inked for something big for myself, something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And I can't wait. I'll definitely break the news here first as soon as I can, but very, very, very exciting to actually have the deal inked. So, yay!
Nice. We can't wait to hear about it.
I guess what I can say, because I've already said this publicly, that I'm a shareholder and I am the Senior Community Development Officer of Token Holdings Limited. So I'll leave it at that, and you guys will find out what Token Holdings Limited will be doing.
Soon, TM.
Hopefully towards the end of this month.
Cool. I've been back in one of my old and favourite games, Star Trek Online, for a bit of an event that they've got going on. So I've been enjoying that and testing out new ships and looking at the new things that are coming to the game. Other than that, normal work and hectic, stressful week for me, as per usual. Gavin?
I've just been at work and working on what could potentially be a very exciting project for our company, but it's just a lot of meetings and talking and numbers and calculations and getting quotes and all of that. It's at the really boring stage right now.
Can we break the news that you're going to be filming the third 50 Shades of Grey movie?
Shut up!
As the lead.
As the lead, yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
When I say lead, I mean female
You
lead.
heard it here first.
You don't need sound effects when you got me.
Nobody would want to see that. It would be awful.
I don't have to see it. I live it out in real life.
How about you, Alex?
It's been a good and bad week, but usual manic week for me in work, but I've got an adorable face to my left, so I'm all good.
Hi, Riley.
My dog for you listeners, so.
Well, we're going to head on to the main show, but first up we're going to try a little something new. We're going to give you some headlines. Things that come to our attention that don't necessarily entitle a full segment each week. So strap yourselves in, and here we go. The Nintendo Switch has launched, but to mixed reviews, something Brandon will cover shortly. D-Brand Skins announces not to buy stickers for the Switch as the adhesive ruins the coating. That's for all of you out there that like to apply adhesive skins to your consoles and devices. Doctor Who is rumoured to be bringing back the Cybermen for the Series 10 finale. That's the original Cybermen. Samsung is to reveal the Galaxy S8 on March 28th. Marvel's Inhumans is now fully cast for the TV show. Destiny, The Age of Triumph, released the teaser trailer for the next part of the game. And Star Trek Discovery has a tentative release date of late summer, early fall this year, and with Jason Isaacs as their captain. But Brandon, why don't you tell us what's coming out this week?
So this week on the Geek Contingent, we're going to talk social media and how technology is affecting life as we know it, the future of the X-Men movie franchise, and like Mark foreshadowed, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Nintendo Switch. Finishing that, we'll head over to answer any of your questions and comments from last week's show.
Let's get to it.
So as we look around the technology landscape at the beginning of 2017, I think it's fair to say that the pace of innovation is quite impressive. Driverless cars, drones, connected homes, 3D printed buildings have arrived and are increasingly popular. Today's youth don't even know a time without social media or mobile apps and so forth. I often find myself questioning, though, is social media really social? Or is it more of a personal disconnect? Yes, it's totally up to us how we use it and how we use it to connect to each other, or are we just using it to avoid each other? The other day, rather than sitting in work talking to my colleagues, I sat there scrolling through Facebook, and it really made me question whether social media was truly social. The one thing I did find, though, while scrolling through it, is a really interesting article on an app called Be My Eyes. The basic premise is that it connects blind and visually impaired people with sighted helpers from around the world via Video Live Connect. I think this is a fantastic use of technology and a brilliant idea, so simple and so easy and going to improve the lives of many. So I really find myself struggling and questioning, does tech improve our lives? Does it hinder our lives? Or has tech nothing to do with it and it's only our own downfall that's caused it? Any opinions or thoughts?
Well, I have to say that, since I've moved from the States to Ireland, that I am so thankful for the technology we have, especially like video chat and things like that, because it's allowed me to stay so connected with my family, and it's like I'm not even gone. I was supposed to go visit them in July, but I don't think I'm going to be making it out there until November. But it doesn't feel like that's a big deal because I see them every day almost, especially my nieces. That was the hardest part about leaving. And they have only known iPad being around since, way before their birth, like they're 2 and 3. So all they know is that iPad exists and they love it, and it's definitely helped me stay in contact with them, and they talk to me just as if they did in person. But they do play less outside, I should say. They are definitely on the iPad more, and I think that's just to be expected. And I think if you look at our generation growing up, we were on the Nintendo and things like that, whereas like our parents' generation were outside playing in the mud. So
couldn't agree more, Brandon. To be honest, the tech is fantastic for that distance thing. I mean, I come from a family that is spread across the planet these days. I've got family in the States, Australia, and Jersey off the coast of France, all across the UK as well. So it is fantastic for that. But I find myself questioning, do we use it too much? The amount of times I walk into a pub or a restaurant and you look around you and everyone's staring down at their tiny little screens rather than talking to the people right in front of them.
Yeah, there is elements of that, but I think certainly when conversation starts going and everything, you tend to put things away. At least I know I try to. I like the idea of some of my friends, and when we're out, yes, I have friends, would be everyone puts their phone on the table, face down, and the first one to lift their phone has to either pay for the round of drinks or the meal. So I think as long as you're being a responsible technology user and being mindful of what you're using, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, there's many times where I've had to pull out my phone during a dinner and I just apologize or let them know in advance, like, hey, I'm waiting for an important message. Like today, I was at the Women's March here in Dublin, and you guys were messaging, and I was with one of my gal friends, and I said, I'm really sorry I have to pull this out and talk to the fellows just to let them know what's up for recording. And I think people are more understanding if you give them a heads up and it's not something that's constant. But really, like, if you look at images from the 40s when technology didn't really exist in the way it does nowadays, and you looked at images of people on a train, everyone's heads were down in newspapers. Now our heads are down on electronic screens. So I don't think it's that big of a difference. It's just adapting based on the technology we have, but that's always been there. I think humankind has always been distracted by something in their hands when they have an opportunity to even talk to others around them.
Everybody's socially awkward.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point, Brandon. I never actually thought of that, if you know what I mean. To give you insight where my thought process came from, if you listen back to episode 2, I talk about the Nokia 3310 and sort of detox of tech with having a dumb phone. It just got me wondering. But I have to say that Be My Eyes app really just blew my mind. Anyone got any thoughts on that and the premise behind it?
Stuff like that. I would rather say maybe a more unique perspective out of everyone. With my line of work is involved working with visually impaired children, and things like that coming along are absolutely great and sort of heading along lines of inclusion in society. There's also one, if I can get this right, Appley, where people can hold their phone up to certain objects and it will actually recognise them and speak out what it is. So I'm thinking for the future of the kids I'm teaching, they'll be able to go into a cupboard one day, hold up their electronic communication device, whatever brand they want it to be, to a kitchen cupboard, pick out what they want independently and take care of themselves and look after themselves. And it's these strides forwards in technology, not necessarily on a particularly social ground, is huge strides forward in terms of acceptance and inclusion and allowing people to live independent and full lives.
I think one of my favorite advances in technology, especially being a world traveler, is that I can hold my phone up using an app and use the live camera, and it instantly translates the sign that's in front of me. Like, how incredible is that? That's like one step closer to a universal translator.
Always back with a trick.
I think there's no denying tech has improved the quality of our lives and made life so much easier. Maybe I just need to detox a little bit from tech and I've become a bit cynical of it.
No, I would agree everyone has to detox sometimes. In the same line of work, I've also seen the flip side. And social media and people becoming more connective is sometimes you can't let things go. You know, unfortunately we hear a lot of things about cyberbullying and everything, and I'm on one of the front lines for that, and you can see, and I would encourage everyone to take a digital detox every now and again.
But that's not always possible, is it? I mean, for Alex and myself, we work in technology-focused jobs, and it really hit home a few weeks ago when I went to buy some new glasses, and the optician was asking me, how long do you look at a screen every day? And in reality, when I thought about it, it's about 90% of my waking hours I'm looking at a screen now. Whether that's in work, on my phone, doing whatever, I'm looking at some kind of display, and that's quite terrifying in a way.
Get Google Glass, and then you can be looking at it 100% of the time.
But how do you disconnect from that? How does a technical person, Alex, myself, anyone who works in IT or any sort of media industry, how do you actually disconnect to take a break?
No, I couldn't comment because I don't work in it. Certainly trying to run my work's own internet presence and trying to do it here. There are times where I think I'm fortunate enough I can go, I am switching off. I am putting something down, I am picking up a book, and I'm saying a big F you to the technology world for at least a half hour.
I mean, I can't think of the last time I was away from technology. I've always got a phone near me, even when I'm on holiday. And it's not that I wouldn't want to turn it off and leave it off. A lot of the time it's because I dread not to, because I don't want the, for lack of a better term, shitstorm that's probably going to be there when I come back.
FOMO is a real thing. Fear of missing out.
Anyway, moving on swiftly from maybe a little bit of a heavy subject there to something a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun, with Mark talking to us about mutants.
Yes, mutants, what we all will become if we can keep looking at the screens for much longer. Although these are more movie mutants, shall we say. This past week, the movie Logan was released to rave reviews. Continuing the X-Men arc, we catch up with Wolverine and Professor X, with their actors Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart respectively, and what is potentially and widely published the last outing for the pair. No more Patrick Stewart as Professor X and no more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Adding to this, Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique from the reboots, has previously said that the last film, Apocalypse, would have been her last, rounding out the reboot trilogy. A sad day indeed for us X-Men Cinematic Universe lovers. We can call it the Cinematic Universe now, right?
Everything else is a universe now, so why not?
Yeah, why not? The discussion, though, for today will be how does the franchise continue to move forward? We've had some great movies from the First Class universe and from the crossover from the original trilogy in Days of Future Past. The next rumoured movie in the main series is set to focus around the Dark Phoenix saga, where, spoilers, you know, and this story's surviving long enough, you kind of have an idea where the likely mental barriers that held back the young Jean Grey's powers collapse, a la X3 The Last Stand, saying nothing about that one. And down the line, we can look forward to Deadpool 2, as being teased this week, and a potential Gambit movie that finally began development, as well as the speculated New Mutants and X-Force films. My questions are this though. Can the franchise continue as First Class alone? Would we then call this a successful reboot of a franchise?
I take issue with the name of calling it a First Class reboot, because they're not the First Class anymore. It's just like the Star Trek reboots. The first one, fair enough. It's them getting together, but as soon as you move past that, they're just the X-Men in a different timeline. It's not First Class anymore.
But it's still a reboot.
Is it though? Because they've had the crossover.
They've had the crossover, which is, I think, was the handing over, the official handing over of this is you now. You know, they had everyone come into Professor X's room at the end of the last movie. Yes, spoilers, I don't care. And everyone was there, and it was kind of like a ceremonial, everything was put right for the future. It, like, erased the first three movies, which I liked 1 and 2. Third, I said the better. And it's to give a future for the current cast. You know, to tell new stories, continue in a new direction. So To me, that's a reboot. And this is where I start realising no one else watches X-Men other than me. Okay.
That's pretty. That's.
I watch it in passing. I just don't know if I'd define this as a reboot myself.
Mark's smart. So I'm gonna go with whatever Mark says and say I back you on that.
It's a dangerous place to go, Brandon.
In this topic.
No, it's not.
I just wanted to add something else as well. Why are they continuing with the same characters played by different people? Why can't they just move on? There are lots of mutants to choose from for following on with X-Men movies going forward post Professor X, post Logan. So why did they feel they had to reboot/not reboot it with the same characters?
Because they're core to the central story of X-Men. If you think about marketability and everything, those who know about X-Men or have a passing interest or knowledge of them, go to the man in the wheelchair with the bald head, and the guy with the red helmet who controls metal, and the guy with the claws. They're your three standout characters across the franchise. When you start going into where X-Men has gone in the comics themselves have become so fractured and so splintered. They have been systematically cutting all the storylines recently, and I think is it next month they are cutting it down from all the different series that they had to 2 comics alone, X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold. It just becomes so confusing a universe without your centralised characters as a anchor for the world.
Definitely needs something to anchor it, to be honest. And I don't know if I could imagine X-Men without Wolverine, without Professor X, without Magneto.
Well, that kind of brings me on to my next one then. Who would or could replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? Who in our mind of minds could take on the role next?
Steps fan says if Gosling was up for it, I'm sure it'd be a blockbuster.
That's so funny because I had the same opinion about La La Land, that it was terrible other than the fact he was in it, and that's why it won awards. Anyway,
I still don't get the appeal of him.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal could be a pretty good Wolverine.
Yeah? It's an interesting thought.
I'm actually getting the name of someone I had in the tip of my tongue and I've forgotten it. It was someone who was in Legend with Tom Hardy. Oh, bother. Talk among yourselves, I need to find this because it's really going to annoy me.
I mean, I would try out.
Well, they've got the facial fuzz down. Taron Egerton.
what makes Wolverine Wolverine, though? Is it the look, is it the attitude, or a bit of both?
Both.
It's a certain je ne sais quoi.
But it's an actor they can put on the attitude. I would like to think Hugh Jackman doesn't go around grunting at everyone. You know, what he does in his free time is completely up to him. But
I'm trying to think about who Orange means here, but he's just messaged me. Oh, the Harry Potter guy. What's his name? Give him facial hair and he's perfect.
Daniel Radcliffe?
there are several Harry Potter guys.
Daniel Radcliffe.
The polite.
That's a limp.
Just making sure.
No.
That
Could be the guy that played Neville.
Yeah,
You know, now that
actually,
he's kind of
I don't know his name, but
hot.
the one who played Neville wouldn't be a bad shout.
Matthew. Is it Matthew?
Weasley.
Steps fans saying a Weasley.
where is that where? It just made me think Wesley Crusher.
Black fuzzy hair, hand-me-down clothes, hand-me-down claws, you must be a Weasley.
Okay, well, there's a website. Forbes put out a list, so I'm going to name these 10, and then we can debate.
We can say yay or nay.
Tom Hardy,
Yes.
No.
Shia LaBeouf,
No.
Penn Badgley.
I don't know who that is. Quick.
I don't know, it kind of looks like him. Kit Harington,
Penn Badgley, no. Kit, no.
Scott Eastwood,
Yes.
Scott Caan.
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal's on the list, so there we go.
That's true.
Yeah, I just can't see it. I can't see it.
Okay, the last two are Taylor Kitsch and Garrett Hudland.
Taylor Kitsch? I don't think so, no.
No. And who was the last one?
Garrett Hudland.
Headlands. Garrett Headland. Actually, yes. He was in the sort of the Tron Legacy reboot.
Ah, yeah. I know who you mean now.
Or the Steps fan says Taylor Lautner.
I actually like the Kevin Hart idea. The article says, yes, Kevin's skin is darker than Hugh Jackman's, and the percent that it matters is exactly 0. The world isn't full of white guys only. I agree with that. I think I love that, and I also loved gender bend. So like where a woman is representing, and it's just a reimagination of the character. So it could be like Wolverine.
I won't spoil it, but that already exists.
I know, but just change it to Wolverina, and you're good.
Wolverina.
Is Wolverine gender neutral? Could it be?
Yeah, I think it is. But I mean, you twist the story, you bend the story, and that's okay in my book. And I think Kevin would actually do pretty good.
I just don't know if I could take him seriously.
Well, he was in what's that? Get Hard. I mean, he kind of proved it in there.
Yeah, he's actually a really good serious actor as well as a really funny, good comedian style actor as well. So he could give it a good shot.
Maybe.
Do you think a bit of facial hair on Matt Damon and he could get away with it?
He's in everything else.
No.
Too pretty.
Try to go through a list of other actors. Could potentially, I'm thinking, Zachary Quinto.
Too skinny.
Hey, other actors bulk up for other movies.
I just don't think it suits him.
Could be a departure, but never say never. But I think that's enough about movies that keep switching between themselves in the present and the future in different timelines. Brandon, you had more of a physical switch that you wanted to talk about.
As everyone here probably knows, Nintendo Switch is now out, although only a few games are available for it. Of course, Zelda being the crown jewel of it. Although it is also available for Wii U, though. So is it enough really to switch to the Switch right now? That's up for debate. But one thing that is unmistakable is the glowing reviews that Zelda is getting. And I'm talking glowing. Like, most of the reviews are 5 out of 5 or 95% out of 100. Or I don't think I've even seen 4 to 5s. Not only that, but it's been definitely dubbed by many, many, many reviews as the best Zelda game ever. And there are even some reviews claiming it to be the best game of all time. So, is anyone playing it right now? Since it's really the only game out right now, there's a couple other games like Bomberman, but it didn't hear so well. Is the Switch worth getting right now, or have you already got it and you're playing Zelda? And then I've got a few follow-up questions.
I don't have the Switch yet, but I tend to be someone who doesn't adopt consoles at release. I tend to wait and see what will happen as the games pick up. For me right now, I've never been a Zelda player or a Zelda lover, so Breath of the Wild isn't something that's going to draw my attention. I'm going to wait and see what happens with the Switch going forward. For me, the biggest thing, the personal sort of grudge I have between myself and Nintendo is their normal lack of third-party support for games. It's partly what killed the Wii U, and until I see what they're going to do with it, I don't want it to become a glorified either Zelda player or a £300 Pokemon device.
Even though if a lot more people said it's the best game of all time and you're not a Zelda fan, is that enough to convince you to actually try it? Like, do reviews convince you to try games?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of the same. The only exception to that is someone told me, go play Uncharted. It's the best gaming experience I've had in my life. And I did it, and I actually agreed with them. It was the best gaming experience.
Was that someone in person that told you that, or was it someone you know, or was it like an article? Just when you said someone said to you.
I guess that's true. It was a review, not someone I knew too well, but someone in an online gaming community I was part of.
It would be different if someone I knew or had a friendship with or some kind of rapport with came to me and said, listen, I think you'll like this, try it out no matter what sort of field they're in. If someone who knows me well says, try this, yes, then I will. I will probably head down to my local game store, see if they've got it, give it a try. Or the big thing for me right now is, before I really go for any game, I tend to look at a lot of YouTube videos of other people playing it just to see what it's like before I want to invest, especially with being a new system.
I think for me, reviews are great, but they're never going to win me from a zero interest to buying it. If I'm sitting on the fence going, that looks quite good, don't know, I'll go away and I'll read some reviews, and that'll sway me at that point. But if I've no uptake or interest to start with, I wouldn't even read them, to be honest.
Yeah, if you get no interest in the IP, it would be a lot to sway me.
What about thoughts overall on Switch as a console? The concept that you can dock it, use your television, grab it and go, and all the other different modes available for it.
I absolutely love the premise of it. Seeing all the videos and the teasers, I've been closely watching this from its initially rumoured when it was back as known as the NX, going through the whole idea of taking your home console with you. I mean, I would probably never get anything done if they did a portable version of the PlayStation 4. I would be on Final Fantasy so much, all the time, it would be unreal.
I would take my PSVR headset with me around on the bus and just be playing it while I was on the bus.
Brandon, you did that last week.
Well, that was something I was actually going to ask. Is the idea of taking your console with you that revolutionary? Because as far as I understand it, Sony have already done this with the Vita. You can buy a Vita unit and play, if you've got a good enough connection, your console games on that wherever you are. Am I wrong?
I always thought it was on the same local network. I didn't think it was over vast distances. I could be wrong, but I always thought it was on the same network.
But it's certainly not a unique idea. I mean, the Microsoft Xbox app on Windows 10 will let you play your Xbox games on your computer over the internet. So it's not... It's revolutionary that it's a single unit you're taking with you, yes, but I think the idea that you're able to play your games wherever you are isn't necessarily...
No, it's not, because you go back to like the Game Boy and everything. That was, that's where Nintendo's lied in the portable market. They're just trying to do a more upscaled portable device. I think it's the concept of you can use this in whatever situation. Home console, sitting on a plane, sitting with your friends in like the tabletop mode, or use it as like your new Game Boy. It covers every part of gaming.
But isn't it quite large physically? I mean, it's a look at me, look what I've got type device that's just going to attract some unnecessary or unrequired attention.
But also, weren't the first mobile phones and the first iPhones?
Speaking of its size-wise, I don't think it's that much bigger than an iPad mini, to be honest. It's a bit fatter, but I don't think it's much bigger in overall dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
What do you actually take with you when it's mobile? Is it the screen and the two docks on the side for the control-y buttons?
The screen and what's called the Joy-Cons.
Okay, so aside from the hardware, something that was kind of disappointing to me is Zelda has a max output of 900p, even when it's docked. I know, like, the signature thing of Nintendo is shitty graphics, but, I mean, really?
You can still keep the aesthetics of shitty graphics and have better resolution than that.
Yeah. And it's what they do with the art style and the game engine and everything. Nintendo have always more been about innovation than progress, if that makes sense. They want to do things they're new, that are innovative, that are unique. They've never been one to push, look, we can do 4K gaming and everything. It's not them. Anyone that's, I would say, a true Nintendo fan, and if you're buying into that, you're buying into that methodology of innovation over...
Well, hold on. The Switch does output 1080p, but Zelda, yeah, it can, but Zelda is capped at 900. So it's not about that they can't do it. They just aren't.
Maybe it's for reasons like of the dock or something, or maybe it taxes the engine too much, or there's probably a whole lot of reasons behind it.
It's possibly also the fact that it's tied to it's launched on the Wii U as well, which doesn't have 1080p to my knowledge.
That's true.
Possibly, yeah.
Brandon, have you played it or seen any playthroughs of the game?
I have not played it. I've seen playthroughs, and I'm going to be picking one up. I am a big Zelda fan, and yeah, I'm super excited to play it, especially after the reviews. Like, I've bumped its priority on my games backlog. It's the next game after I finish Final Fantasy 15.
The footage you've seen, does it look like it's letterboxed, so it has black bars at the top and bottom on the screen?
Ooh, yeah, I don't recall, actually.
I was just wondering, because maybe the choice of the 900p resolution on it is so that they can produce a more thematic image. It's a little bit more like watching a movie in the cinema. It's a little bit more widescreen, fake widescreen, but it could be an artistic choice, not a technological choice.
I don't remember seeing any black bars, and looking at screenshots right now just from a Google search, I don't see any black bars.
The only black bars I know are for the housing around the screen, which are, they do look a little bit chunkier than what I thought they would have been.
Yeah, granted, I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but it's still, I don't know, I was a little disappointed they chopped off 280p. Well, that wraps up the main show for this week. Mark, why don't you take us into feedback and closing?
And for the only bit of feedback we have this week from Orangey, we thank you kindly. I'm in for the Game of Thrones marathon. I'm definitely interested in what all the hubbub is about, and I'd love to watch it together with you guys. Not sure how we'll watch it, but we can discuss that before diving right in.
Ooh, we could do Game of Thrones The Journey. I did that back in 2009 where I did Star Trek The Journey, and we watched one episode a day for like, I think it was like 2.5 years? I don't know. It took a long freaking time. There was like 760 different things we had to watch because we watched every episode in chronological release order and then movies in between the seasons as they came out. And that was good crack. It was really good fun.
Is that when you were back at PWE?
And I started it even before I got hired by the company.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
You started that way back in a prior production of ours and then continued it when you went over.
I just realized I said it was really good crack. That is an Irish slang term for fun.
Yeah, I think we're that used to it and maybe thinking of an international audience.
He's not talking about drugs.
No. But there is a way we could do things like that and
Drugs?
No. Watch things together. It's a Chrome extension called, is it Netflix Party? Unfortunately, it only works with Netflix, so we'd kind of have to hope something would either come to Netflix or there's other things like that. So we will move straight on to finish this week's show then. Alex, take it away.
Well, this wraps up episode 3 of the Geek Contingent. We thank you for joining us for our 3rd episode.
Remember, there are lots of ways to get in touch. Send us a tweet to @GeekContingent.
You can also drop us a like and comment on facebook.com/geekcontingent.
You can email us also, incoming@thegeekcontingent.com, or why not head over to the website and comment on the post for this show, thegeekcontingent.com/EP3.
But before we finish up, Gavin, thank you again for joining us, our audio engineer, promoted to audio god, promoted to audio wizard, and demoted back to engineer. Thanks for your skills in putting the show together.
Mostly though, we want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us for episode 3. Those of you that joined us live, and those of you that are listening to us after. See you next week, and until then, keep it geek.
You've been listening to the Geek Contingent. Tune in again next week for more news, reviews, and opinions on all things geek.
But isn't it quite large physically? I mean, it's quite a big thing. It's does shut up. Would you necessarily? I can't even say it. It's too funny. Would you want to put it out on the bus and start playing?
Oh my god.
But you know what I mean? I mean...
Dr. Hugh, yes, Dr. Hugh, we'll see you now.
Well, this wraps up the episode 3 of the Geek Contingent, and we thank you for joining us for the 3rd episode.
Could you start that again, Alex?
Yes, please. Nice and slow.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Well,
Puppy power.
Stop making me laugh. Well, I knew that was coming. Well, this wraps up episode 3 of the Geek Contingent. We thank you for joining us for the
Alex.
Yes.
Alex, not that episode 3.
Yeah, okay.
You keep saying that episode 3.
Doing it with my eyes closed.
Yes, only because I'm editing this section, I need to make this as easy as possible for me.